Hey, you're back with the Lawn Engineer, and it feels like Christmas morning. I finally got my deck baffle for my bagging kit on the Simplicity, so we're gonna get that thing installed and do a test mow. All right, I'm home with my baffle and I have a few minutes, so I'm gonna get this thing installed and give her a test mow, maybe hopefully tomorrow. All right, the first thing I have to do is get the deck off, but I hope I also have my hardware here. You can see here's my pile of hardware I had left over from the initial install. So hopefully I've got everything there I need to get this baffle on. All right, here we are with our Simplicity deck. Of course, I've got some grass to clean up before we can start here, so I guess I'll work on that. Okay, I had more buildup in here than I thought I would, but I did have a few instances where I plugged the discharge chute, and I'm assuming that's when I had that big buildup. There's nowhere for it to go, so it just kind of gets smashed around in here and acts more like a mulching deck than a discharging deck, so I'm assuming that's what happened. I'm hoping that plugging occurs less often here with this baffle. I thought it'd be obvious when I set this thing in here where it goes, but I'm not quite sure where this goes, so I guess I gotta pull the instructions out. On the lawnmower. You ready for? All right, we have our baffle in place here now. It's not a huge difference, so I'm not expecting major differences out of this thing, but you can see it's the black piece here. Basically reduces this curvature in the front about 2 inches or so. I suppose that does maybe two things. If we take the tangent line of this, it maybe directs the flow straighter out the deck and not tipping it back as far. The other thing, we're reducing the volume in here, so our velocity goes a little bit up in this area. Now, I'm assuming that difference is pretty small just on the reduction in area we have here. But I do know, when we're transporting things with a fluid, air is basically a very low viscosity fluid, and we've got grass entrained in that air. Velocity is important to make sure we're keeping that grass suspended in the air and moving it through. If we go too slow, that grass will drop out. If we go too fast, the air will take off and leave the grass behind and plug up. So I'm interested to see how big of a difference this makes. I was still getting a few plugging issues in the chute here, so maybe this is the ticket. Before I put this back together, I thought it'd be interesting to set up the discharge chute here on the bagger and see if this curvature matches up better with our takeoff here, our boot. Yeah, and honestly, this curve here kind of matches better up with the curve on here. So I think this isn't necessarily to change the direction of the outflow here. It's just, as I said, to reduce the area of the deck, increase that velocity of the air going up the bagger chute. So we'll see if that works for us, if that makes this less susceptible to plugging. Where I said the area I still did struggle was where I cut it 1.5 inches, and this gap between the deck and the ground is reduced making it harder for the deck to suck in air to move through the bagging system. So we'll see if this little tweak improves that situation. All right, I've got the Bagger kit reinstalled and we're gonna take it for a test mow, see how it goes, if there's any improvement. All right, just got done mowing the front here and it's still fairly wet. It's about midday. And it was fairly overgrown, so I had to cut off a decent amount, and I did not plug up. So far, time will tell, but it seems as though this has made a little bit of an improvement down there and keeping that that bagger clear. So I'm happy. All right, indeed, there is no plugging. So I'd say that's a success. Basically, I had identical conditions in a previous mow with bagging without the baffle, and I plugged up about 3/4 of the way through and had to really slow down so that wouldn't happen anymore. So I think that baffle, obviously they include it for a reason. It did make a little bit of a difference there. So I'd call that a win. All right, I'll continue to update you on at least weekly on the progress of my lawn here and cutting with the Simplicity Regent. So if you like this sort of thing, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything, and it lets the YouTubers know that you like my content and suggest it to other people. So take care. Adios. All right, I just got done mowing the lawn. I was a little bit rushed. It's a weeknight here. It was getting pretty long. It's going to rain for the next 3 days, and it felt a little bit more like a chore than enjoying it. But when I got done, it looks like this. So I just wanted to share that moment. I'm extremely happy with this mower and all the work that it goes into this lawn. But when it turns out like this, it kind of feels worth it. So adios.